everyone. We are joined today by Anya Ali Hamza, a true powerhouse of talent and ambition. Anya is an MBBS doctor, a nutritionist, an entrepreneur, and a content creator. She founded Pakistan's first registered online fitness organization, GetFit Athletic. She runs a thriving skincare brand, Blissful Beauty, and is now pursuing an MSc in clinical dermatology from Cardiff University. In this conversation, we're going to talk to Anya about her journey before joining the Cardiff University, what her journey has been like up to now, and what she plans on doing in the future. Thank you so much, Anya, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So now a lot of our students and their parents who are going to be viewing this conversation are either going to join in January for their further education or in September. Now,
Mhm.
it's a big step to go from a South Asian culture in Pakistan where you're very pampered and
Yes.
then start your journey in either Cardiff or any other university in the
Yeah.
UK. So how has your journey been up till now?
I think it's been amazing because, like you said, we're so coddled and pampered in our houses over there because help is so accessible and there's just so many people living in one household to help with everything that when you move out or when you move into a country where it's not that accessible, you learn to do things for yourself. And I think that is just so empowering, not having to depend on anyone. So, yeah, home wise, it's been amazing managing things for myself and just, trying to figure out all of my days has been amazing. And in terms of going back to being a student, I think I was really nervous about it because the last time I graduated in 2019. And after that, I started my master's in 2024. So it was like a 5 year gap, and going back to being a student after being in the professional life was something that made me really, really anxious. But once I got into it, it was like, I never left or that gap was never there. And I think it was a great step. It really built my confidence. And I feel like if people can, they should definitely, definitely go abroad, figure out life for themselves, and study internationally because it is definitely a life changing and just, a personality changing experience for sure.
And do you feel that Cardiff helped settle you in? Because I feel so, my experience of them has been it's an extremely friendly city.
For sure, yeah.
And a personal experience for me was when I first went there 8 years ago, my phone ran out of charge and I was completely lost.
Yeah.
And I had to get to the international office. And someone could see I was struggling and they just asked me, "Where are you going?" I told them, "This is where I want to go." They said, "Oh, it's fine. Forget about your phone. I'll take you there." And it was a 15-minute walk from the train station. And they walked me there and that wasn't even a direction they were going in. So
Yeah.
I feel it's a very friendly city, but how has your experience been and how has the university and the town helped you settle in?
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like what you've just said is literally Cardiff in a nutshell. Because I've personally had experience living in Manchester for an extended period of time, and I've gone back and forth to London a lot. So this was my first time being in Cardiff, and I definitely think that it was way, way, way more friendlier than the rest of the UK, at least to the part that I've been in. Because when I came, even if I was just carrying two bags, I'd have people come up to me and be like, "Do you need help with those bags?" If I was lost in the train station, even people in authority, like, normally police officers, they're so intimidating, but over here, they'd just be so friendly. I just generally feel like it's a very, very friendly city. And then it's just so beautiful. Like, Wales is famous for its valleys, and it's a really nice blend of nature and just city life altogether, Cardiff in general, because if you're craving like the metropolitan aspect, you can just go into the center, but if you're craving the nature, you can just go for a hike in any of the valleys and you'd see that. And then it's not as fast paced as the rest of the UK. So it's generally like very calm, very peaceful, but you can also experience the fast life a bit. I don't know if it makes any sense, but it's just a really nice combination of everything. So yeah, Cardiff has been amazing. I think it's my favorite city in the UK so far.
Okay, so your course is really demanding. So you've talked about you can go for walks and you can experience nature. Do you
Yeah.
find time to balance that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm really taking a breather throughout the day, but me personally, that's how I like it to be. Like if I get up, the only time I want to be getting back into bed is when I'm going to sleep. So I just like having my day be super busy, not just very demanding, but like just I like to be doing something throughout the day, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's taking my dog for a walk, whether it's studying, whether it's going to the library. So yeah, I do make time. And I think that compared to MBBS, the course isn't as demanding. Like I do have classes, sometimes they'll be more difficult than the rest of the week, but it's not like it's very difficult to navigate. You get around it.
Okay, so I recently started following you, and I think your journey is exceptional and very inspirational. And I
Thank you.
saw that you've taken your pet Bruno with you.
Yes,
Now,
yeah,
I myself have two pets here, and I know how difficult it is to manage them and look after them and make sure that they're completely looked after.
yeah.
Now, there you have no help. Now that I think that's a really bold decision that you took him there. Can you talk about that journey?
Yeah, Bruno's 6 now, and he was actually my husband's dog, and he's had him since he was a puppy. He was, I think, 6 weeks old when he got him. So he was literally like our child. I know people who don't have pets will find that very, very weird. And we do get often a lot of criticism when we say that. But for people that have pets, know that, he's literally like our child. So leaving him was not an option. And I feel like he has such a better life over here because of how everything is so accessible to him. He's allowed everywhere. There's so many dog friendly parks. He's loved everywhere he goes. Like literally, I don't remember a walk I've taken with him where 10 people didn't come and just pet him for no reason at all. So, yeah, I think that he has a really great life here. And then, me and my husband, we just sort of divide duties and it's not that hard to manage. Like he's a part of our life and we don't find it a chore. We just find it something that, is a part of our life. So
Hmm. So have you moved to Cardiff with your husband, or are you there on your own?
I'm here on my own, but my husband's currently visiting me for 4.5 months. He's going to be going back in April. So I do currently have a lot of help.
Okay, so I mean that's exceptional that the two of you are supporting each other in this
Yeah,
journey.
yeah.
So, what would your advice be to, let's say, a young couple where one of them or both of them are decided to move abroad for work or higher education? Because
Mm.
it can be a big step and it can be quite daunting.
Yeah.
So what would your advice be?
I think that if even if it's a couple or if it's two people or if they're friends, there needs to be, set rules and they just need to like be a team and manage everything together. Unfortunately, in our society, it's very stereotypical and it's very common for the girl to take up all the burden on herself and for the man to just be the provider and that is it and not have, like when we moved here I honestly didn't know that my husband knew how to do so many house chores because I'd never seen him do them. But yeah, I think it needs to be a team effort and it needs to be something that you decide beforehand. Just set everything straight that I can't do this alone. I can't be studying, I can't be cooking, I can't be cleaning, and then it needs to be a team effort. So, yeah, my husband's been really supportive with everything. He feels no shame cooking, he feels no shame cleaning, he feels no shame helping around with the house. And I think that's the way it should be because over here you don't have help. And unless both partners are into it together, I don't think it's going to be a very pleasant experience. Because if I was here doing everything by myself, I don't think I would be that satisfied, and I would just be like wishing to go back very, very soon. But now that we do everything together, it doesn't feel like a task. It just feels like something we have to do, and we actually enjoy it. We love cooking, we love cleaning, and I think that can only happen if both partners are doing it together.
I agree with that completely. So I lived with my wife in London for approximately 4 months, and we
Yeah.
lived in an apartment. And
Okay.
I felt that that brought us together because there's so many issues and there's so many small problems you wouldn't even think of. And then when you start managing them together, I feel that's a very healthy way to
For sure.
build relationship. And you're absolutely right. It goes both ways. You do need to support each other.
For sure. Yeah.
So now, when it comes to medicine, there's a number of specializations you can target. Why
Yeah.
did you decide to go for dermatology?
I think people that know me know that I've been really, really passionate about skin for the longest amount of time. And I think that's one of the reasons why I started my brand as well. But it wasn't like something that just came off a whim. I studied skincare, I studied skin for a number of years because even in medicine, there's only such a small portion that you will learn about skin. And then I just had this in me that I wanted to learn everything. I was just very, very passionate about skincare. I had a massive skincare wall where I would just try every single skincare product out there on my own face. And sometimes I would get reactions, and sometimes I would get acne, and sometimes I just like made a mess of my whole skin. But it was still so interesting to me to just learn how every skin type is so different and how every skin reacts so differently to certain things. And it was just something that I was very, very passionate about. And I honestly didn't want to put in 4 to 5 years learning about it. Maybe in the longer run, that is something that I pursue. But for now, this master's just felt like the perfect amount of time that I had to take to just learn about skin and all the skin types and its diseases and everything.
Okay. So obviously there's a lot of like you said that I had a whole wall of skincare products and I was just trying everything.
Yeah,
Now you're a professional.
yeah,
Now I'm sure there's lots of youngsters who are, let's say, insecure about their skin and they
mhm,
do go through the same phase and probably
yeah,
they don't know how to manage
yeah.
uh, any issues that come up. What would your advice be to someone, a youngster, boy or girl, who's a little insecure about their skin, and how should they look after it?
I think that the skincare industry has grown so much and become so popular over the past 1 or 2 or 5 years that every other day you see there's a new trend. Sometimes it's slugging, sometimes it's exfoliating, sometimes it's there's just a number of trends that every time something comes up, people start trying it. I think for starters, it's very important to understand that not everything is for you. And if you found something that works for you, or if you found a routine that works for you, there's no reason to be trying other things. And I think people just overcomplicate their skincare so much that they'd be using like 10 products in one routine and then just ruining their skin or damaging their skin barriers. I think people need to understand that at least with skin, less is more. And once you figure out what works for your skin type, try to stick to it and not change it because consistency is what's most important in taking care of your skin. Sunscreen is a non negotiable. I don't think a lot of people understand that. And I think there's a lot of misconception around it as well. There'll be a new spark every day that this ingredient in sunscreen causes cancer, or on cloudy days, you don't need sunscreen. So I think just busting a lot of myths is also very important and just not jumping in on every skincare trend that you see on the internet.
So, can I just ask for a personal level as well? But why is sunscreen so important?
Because skin cancer is the number one cause of skin cancer is sun exposure, and the number one cause of premature skin aging is sun exposure. So it's very important to wear a sunscreen that protects you from all the UVA and UVB rays so that you're protected from all these things.
So, even if it's winter, or is it just predominantly for the summer months?
So there's this thing that's called the UV index. And normally, when you open the weather app in your phone, it'll show you what the UV index is at that time. So if the UV index is high enough, you do need sunscreen at that point. But if it's low, you can just do without it. It'll tell you when it's going to be high. It'll tell you if it's going to be low the rest of the day. What specific times do you need sun protection? So you can literally just open your weather app and check. And if it is high, then you must be wearing sunscreen.
Okay, perfect. So you're studying the 1 year clinical dermatology program. Can you talk to us about the program and how you feel you're benefiting from it? So one, the program, and then one, why do you feel that Cardiff is the right institution for that
Yeah.
particular program?
So I think I've only been in this program for 2 months, so there's only so much that I can say. But I think it's been an amazing experience up till now because we it's not just books and it's not just studying about it. We get to go to clinics and see actual patients under the guidance of very, very qualified dermatologists. Just literally people that are so qualified. We have dermatologists that have invented treatments. We have dermatologists that have published a gazillion research articles. We have dermatologists that have been working in this sector for like 20, 30 years. So and written books, and just you get so overwhelmed being and working under someone who is just so extraordinary. It's an amazing experience. And I think if it was just us sitting in a classroom and reading books, things would have been a lot different. But every week we're allocated clinics where we have to go work under dermatologists and look at real patients, look at actual skin diseases, look at actual skin conditions, take histories, interact with patients. And I feel like that is my favorite part of the entire program, just the clinical side of it. And yeah, our teachers are amazing. They're all dermatologists, they're all clinicians, they're all very, very qualified. Our class has, I think, 30 students, and they're all so diverse. They're all from different parts of the world. So just meeting them and knowing what the medicine industry is like in their countries has been such a wonderful experience. So yeah, these 2 months have been amazing for sure. Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. I hope you keep on contributing, especially through your brand, Blissful Beauty, because
Yeah.
now you've set that up. What motivated you to set it up? And can you talk about your journey from start till now? Because I found out that you're one of the largest skincare brands in Pakistan, which is exceptional. Knowing that I think, how long has it been since you set up?
It's been a year. It's just been 1 year.
1 year. So that means that you are providing exceptional quality, and you must be doing something right. So can you talk about your journey setting it up to date?
Yeah, like I said, I was really, really passionate about skincare, and I knew that at some point I wanted to start my own skincare brand. And I think the whole journey where I was just testing out skincare products and learning about new things, learning about the skin, was only because I wanted to implement all of that into my own skincare brand whenever I did start it. But, it's starting a business, and especially a business that deals with someone's skin, that's literally a source of their confidence, a source of their insecurities, was such a big step that I was really scared to take it. I would have probably started it like 3 or 4 years ago, but I was just so nervous and I wanted everything to be perfect when I did. We started in September last year, but we'd been doing research and we'd been working on our products 2 years before that. So we have a team of pharmacists, we have a team of formulation experts that do everything, that make the formulas, and then it's tested out on a number of people before it comes into the market. And I personally, once it's gone through all the checks, I test it out myself as well. And like I said, that in this whole testing process, I've done really, really weird things to my skin, but yeah, it's all been worth it. We did not expect that once we launched, the response would be that amazing. When we started, we had a limited number of stock that we forecasted we would sell out in about 6 to 7 months. But when we
Sorry,
launched, we were sold
Sophia, can
out.
I stop you because I we won't be able to hear each other because of the azan. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's perfect.
It'll probably just take a few minutes. Well, a
That's
minute.
okay. Sure, that's fine.
So you were talking about your experience with the brand.
Yeah. So I think one of the major reasons why Blissful was so successful is because of the community that we had built over the past few years. I mean, everyone saw my passion for skincare. I had a lot of followers who wanted to see that part of me and who had been seeing that part of me for a number of time, and had just built so much trust in my skincare knowledge, in my skincare recommendations. We initially started out with 2,000 pieces per product, and we'd speculated that we'd sell out in about 5 to 6 months, but in the first 24 hours we were all sold out.
Oh my God,
And
you must have got the shock of your life.
yeah, our phones were blowing off, and I was looking at my husband, and my husband was looking at me, and I'm like, I think someone's just scamming us, or maybe just they're bots that are ordering our products. But it was very, very overwhelming. And then we placed another order for 2,000 pieces per product again, because that's all the capital we had to invest into our business. And we were again sold out in 24 hours. And now this time, because we'd built up some capital, we invested in 10,000 pieces per product. And in, I think, 9 or 11 days, we were sold out again. So it definitely took us a lot of time to figure out our supply and demand. And even when we did, the demand would just increase with every time we restocked. And I think only now, 1 year into the brand, we figured out how much we actually need. So yeah, it's definitely been like a very, very overwhelming journey. And we're so grateful for all the love that we've received. We've done this candidly just on our own. And I think we've now just delivered over 150,000 orders. And that's the growth that we speculated for our 5 year journey. But yeah, I'm just so overwhelmed even talking about it, but it's been amazing. It's
That
definitely
that
been
that's
amazing.
incredible, and I think that is testament to how involved you are and how
Yeah,
much people actually trust you
yeah,
and trust your journey as well. Because
yeah,
I think no generic brand
yeah,
can just pull that off. I think
yeah,
that a lot of testament goes to you and how you built it,
yeah.
and how naturally you built it.
Yeah, no, I'm so grateful for all the love that we received. Just people trusting us so much with their skin. I know it's such a big step, but I'll forever be grateful to everyone that's put their trust in us.
So it's not an easy step once you're working and you're running a business and a successful business to then go on to a master's.
Yeah,
Because this conversation I've had multiple times with students where they feel that they need to complete their undergrad and then straight after their undergrad go into their master's,
yeah,
uh, because they feel that once they start working, it's
mhm,
very difficult to get away and then pursue their education and put
yeah,
their work on hold.
yeah,
How are you managing to balance your work experience, well, your work
yeah,
and your studies? Because a master's can be very
yeah,
demanding.
yeah. I think that I really wanted to learn more about skin and just everything about it. It's not something that I wanted to pursue per se, but I just wanted to learn for my own knowledge so I could implement it into making my own brand grow. And Alhamdulillah, the brand's given me the flexibility of number one, money not being an issue. And second, it has its own identity now. So we have a lot of people. We've hired an amazing team of employees that play a big role in running it. And then over here, we manage a lot of it remotely as well. Like we'll do every 3 day meetings with our entire team. We'll work on testing. We'll have meetings with the lab and everything. So it's something, even though it does take up a big chunk of our day over here as well, it's something that we are able to manage remotely. And I knew that I wanted to make my brand grow and I wanted to be so well educated that I can implement that knowledge and that knowledge can reflect into my brand as well. Because obviously the sky is the limit. And I just wanted enough knowledge to be able to just know all the skin types, to know all the conditions, to know all the skin diseases, and then put it into my brand. So I think that was the biggest motivator of it all. It was not money, it was not, pursuing that as a career later on. It was just making my own brand grow.
So when you think about it practically, you only have so many hours in a day. How
Yeah.
do you manage to do so much? And what would your advice be to someone who's trying to manage a lot of work and let's say their studies or their personal life? How
Yeah.
do you become more productive? How do you become more organized? What would your experience be on that?
I think waking up early definitely helps a lot. And I think the fact that everything over here closes so early that you're just bound to go home and figure your stuff out. So that definitely plays a really big role because I was never an early riser and it's something that I dreaded when I was in Pakistan. But over here, I think it just happens naturally because that's literally everyone's routine. Everything closes down early. You're forced to sleep early. You're forced to wake up early. And then obviously I had my classes as well. And I think that not just right now, but even when I was a medical student, that's when I started my fitness organization while I was in med school. So I think I've always been
Okay.
the kind of person that just wanted a lot on their plate. And I know that's not for everyone, but the good thing is that I know I know how to pick up on signs of burnout, and I know when I'm doing too much, and I know when I need to take a breather, I need to step back, and I just need to relax and do nothing for a couple of days. I think just being overly productive is so glorified that it's leading to a lot of burnout and exhaustion in our kids, in students, in adults,
I
that
agree with you
I think
completely.
people just need to pick up on signs of when they just need to take a step back. There's nothing wrong with being productive, but you just need to know when you need to stop and take a break. So yeah, I like my day being super productive. I like having something to do every minute, every second of my day. But I also spend days where I just spend hours and hours doing nothing and just sitting in front of a TV and watching a show with a very not so nutritious meal or a bowl of ramen, and that's what helps my soul. So sometimes, you just need to identify what works for you and just take it from there.
How it should be. So now, obviously, where you live has a big impact on that as well. How do you feel Cardiff as a city is blissful for students as well? So I feel that there's a lot the city has to offer, but I want to hear it coming from someone who's living there and studying there.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I feel like just Cardiff, the people of Cardiff being so friendly plays such a big role, because when you're a student and when you're coming from a different country and you're going to be a third person in a new country, it's already so overwhelming for you. You're already so nervous. I feel that we're so on edge with everything. We're so scared. Oh, we might do this. We might offend someone. We might say something wrong. It's already so scary. So, just having a friendly face, even if you're walking down the street and someone smiles to you, that can also just be so reassuring and calming. So I think, yeah, the people over here being so friendly definitely helps. Secondly, I think at least what I've experienced is that it's a very, very student-oriented city. So you'd see a lot of students and you just look at people and you'd be able to tell, oh yeah, this person's a student. So I think, just knowing that there's people who are doing the same thing as you, living the same life as you, our students are waking up every day to go pursue a degree for their own career development or for their own personal development. I think that helps as well. And I think just, being somewhere where no one's judging you, no one's looking at you funny, no one's you're just free to do whatever you want also really helps. So yeah, I definitely think that Cardiff is one of the best cities that I've been to, and the people over here just make it all the more better.
So, living in Pakistan, how did you make that decision to come to Cardiff? Because usually students would look at mainstream cities and then
Yeah.
decide to go there. So, Manchester, London. What made you particularly decide to come to Cardiff?
I think the number one deciding factor was obviously the program, because Cardiff University's clinical dermatology program is one of the most popular programs anywhere in the world. So I think that was the number one deciding factor, but not pursuing the same thing in, let's say, King's College London or somewhere else. I think going back and forth into the UK definitely helped that decision as well, because I knew that I like London for a couple of days, but that's definitely not where I want to live long term. It's just everybody has their own preferences, but it just wasn't for me. I don't like overcrowded spaces. I don't like spaces where there's too much going on at a time. So I really like going into London for the weekend and just spending days there, but it's not a place where I wanted to live. But at the same time, I know people who really like that life and like living there as well. So like I said, everyone's different. And then my sister and her husband live in Manchester. So I've been there as well and I love it. I honestly do love Manchester, but I also think that was also a place where I didn't want to live long term. So the number one deciding factor was definitely the program. But once I was here and I've actually lived here, I think this might just be where I want to live even after I'm done with my master's or for long term, forever.
So, I mean, I completely agree with that. It really depends on your personality, and you
Yeah,
need to understand what you enjoy and where
yeah,
you feel you'll be happy with, and then do your research and then make a decision. Because
for
it's a
sure.
big decision
Yeah,
deciding where you want to study, and that
yeah.
potentially could also lead to planning to live there later on.
Yeah. I mean, I know that my master's was 1 year. So I know that even if I didn't like the country as much, I had the option of just switching or going somewhere else. But I know there's people who come here to do bachelor's, medicine, that are enrolled in like 4-year degrees, 5-year degrees as well. So I would definitely recommend just if you have the option to go and visit once, maybe do that. But if not, just research the city, research the country as much as you can before actually taking the step. Because it might be that the program is amazing, but you don't like living there as a city. So yeah, I think kids should definitely read up, research, make use of the internet before they decide to move somewhere.
I agree with that. So you mentioned that a lot of your academics that you're learning under, they're launching their own brands, they've got their own research,
Mm-hmm.
um, and they worked in industry. Now, these academics, do you get one-to-one time with them? Do you use them when it comes to advice for your brand? How do you feel that they're helping you particularly?
Yeah, so all our teachers are very, very qualified dermatologists, which means that they've gone through extensive years of training in the medical sector in the dermatology area before, they started doing this for a living. There's a lot of our teachers who are in training as well at the moment, so they're definitely more relatable and more approachable. Everyone is really friendly, but it's just an inbuilt instinct that if someone is very, very qualified, you're a little intimidated by them. So, you get to learn a lot from them. And whenever I ask any of my teachers or any of my supervisors questions, they've always helped me, gone above and beyond to help me. But it's really refreshing to see that there's people like us as well in the program that are our supervisors who are still in training, who are still learning, still, growing. So yeah, and then we're assigned personal tutors who we can go to, who are also dermatologists, who we can go to, who we can call, who we can help, who we can ask for help at any point of the day. They're very accessible to us. So when I started this program, I think I started my program on the 23rd of September, and a couple of weeks before that, my father passed away. So I
I'm
was
so
having a really, really hard time just adjusting and just fitting into it. And I think my personal tutor helped so much because even when we weren't assigned sessions with her, I would just go to her and rant and cry or just be quiet and say nothing. And I feel like she was just so available that that played a very huge role. And that's not something that we're used to, at least what it's not something that I'm used to in universities in Pakistan, having assigned a point of contact who you can go to for literally anything. I've gone to her for food recommendations. I've gone to her for just ranting. I've gone to her for career advice. So I think that was really, really nice. And then, yes, we do have direct contact with all of these individuals. So every week we're assigned clinic under a very, very qualified dermatologist. And it's a different dermatologist every week. So we just go to them, we shadow them, we look at them while they go through the patients. And dermatology is a really, really busy clinic in the UK. There's months and months of waiting before you can actually get an appointment. So you get to see so many new diseases, so many new skin conditions, and then they'd let you interact with the patient as well. They'd let you see the conditions up close as well. You can ask them questions, you can get help. So I think in 2 months I've learned so much that I'm so excited to see what I do in the rest of the 10 months of this course. But yeah, it's really amazing. And all the teachers, all the doctors are really accessible, really helpful. They go above and beyond to help you. I think it's a really, really, really nice program.
All right, brilliant. I think that's really helpful for our students who are watching, and
Yeah,
then anyone who wants to either go particularly to Cardiff, to the
yeah,
UK, or for clinical dermatology.
yeah.
Also, anyone who's looking to be inspired on where to start and actually how to follow their passion. Because
Hmm.
one thing that you said, I think, really stands out that I didn't care about the money. I
Yeah,
did it because I loved it.
yeah,
And also the fact that you've gone in for the master's program, not because of any tag, because unfortunately there is a inclination in Pakistan that we want to study at certain institutions because
yeah,
they are well recognized or reputed, and that tag will represent well on our name. I
yeah,
think the fact that you've gone for the program to enhance your knowledge and
yeah,
give back, I think that's exceptional, and that's something a lot of students and youngsters can learn from.
for
So
sure.
thank you for that. So we mentioned to our audience that we're going to have a session with you. And there was one really interesting question that someone put out there. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would that be?
Hmm. I think. just not reading too much or thinking too much about a situation and trusting your gut and just going with it and going with the flow is really, really important because, like I said, that when I would have probably launched my brand many years ago, but I was so scared and I was just so nervous and I was so anxious about what might happen. But then the time that I took to launch it, I also did, learn a lot and grow a lot as a person. But I think what the number one advice that I would give to my younger self would probably be not worrying about what people think and not just getting so worked up about what might happen and just going with your gut and doing it. I think that is something that has become a really big quality of mine, that when I think of something, I just do it. I don't go here and there and spend days thinking about it. I just do it. And I know the worst that could happen, I'll still learn something from it. So I don't read too much into it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Anya. This was an exceptional conversation. I know I learned a lot, and I hope my students will also get inspired.
I
I
hope so.
wish you the absolute best in your journey at Cardiff.
Thank
And if my team is visiting Cardiff, because we work with them very closely,
you.
I think our director, Mrs. Naseem Khan, would love to meet you.
For
Uh,
sure. Love to meet her
and
as well.
yes, and I wish you the absolute best with your brand as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It was lovely.
Yeah. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.